You know, it's incredible how much power we hold, even without saying a word. Every time your fingers touch money when you hold it, pass it, count it, spend it, or receive it, your very being is sending out a command. For too long, we've been told that money is just a neutral thing, separate from our spirit, something to be used and feared. But I'm here to tell you, money is far from dead. It's alive, a dynamic force that listens with perfect obedience to the rhythm of your words and the deepest tones of your heart. Think about it. Most people handle money with fear. They hold it tentatively, count it with tension, and spend it with dread. They say things like, "I can't afford that," and then wonder why money seems to vanish, or money doesn't come easily, and then their purse stays empty. They declare scarcity, even as they hold proof of abundance. They speak of emptiness while touching the very manifestation of the infinite, and then they're surprised when it doesn't multiply. But here's the truth: money doesn't respond to effort. It responds to energy, to blessing, to command. From this moment on, every interaction you have with money needs to be treated as sacred. Every bill you hold, every card you swipe, every coin you find, every transaction you complete, these aren't just mundane acts. They are profound opportunities for creation. The moment you touch money, you're standing at a spiritual altar. And the words, or even the silent vibrations, you issue in that moment will either multiply or diminish your future. Don't let another dollar pass through your hands without blessing it, without commanding it, without speaking the truth over it. Let me be clear: if you aren't speaking increase over your money, you are silently allowing loss. Silence isn't neutral in the realm of spiritual law. It's submission. When you say nothing, the world steps in for you, filling the void with fear, confusion, and lack. But when you speak, when you declare with rhythm and truth, money must obey. Not because of magic, but because of law. Let your new ritual begin today. Every single time you touch money, no matter the amount, you will speak a sentence. Not just any sentence, but a sacred command, one infused with divine substance, creative vibration, and spiritual finality. And when you speak it, you must not speak as someone who hopes, but as someone who knows, because the law doesn't respond to begging, it responds to certainty. Let your fingers become the transmitters of blessing. Let your tongue become the rod of multiplication. Let your vibration match the truth of divine supply. You're not spending money, you're circulating it. You're not losing value, you're commanding return. You're not fearing lack, you're declaring increase. Say this when you touch money. Say it with breath, say it with rhythm, say it with authority, and then just watch what follows. Because when you speak to money in alignment, money becomes your servant, and a good servant always obeys the master who knows their power. Money isn't dirty, evil, or carnal. That's a doctrine of the world, not the law of spirit. The great deception is believing that money belongs to man, created by governments, earned by toil, and lost by misstep. But I boldly declare to you, money is God's invisible supply in form. It's divine substance made manifest, a shadow of the real, and it's drawn to those who recognize it as sacred. There's no conflict between money and spirit, only between ignorance and truth. The same God who gives you life also gives you bread. The same source that breathed you into being holds nothing back from your daily needs. When you separate money from the divine, you strip it of its power. But when you unite it with the law of good, You allow it to flow, to increase, to serve. The issue is never the money itself. It's always the mind that handles it. Don't treat money as common, with fear, guilt, or disdain. Don't say, "It's just $1," or "I hate money." Don't mock the very instrument of your good. What you scorn cannot stay. What you resist cannot return. What you resent, you repel. But what you bless, you multiply. What you honor, you attract. What you speak into with truth returns with favor. Money is spiritual. Yes, it's a medium of exchange, but it's also a mirror. It reflects your beliefs, your vibration, your consciousness. If you think lack, it dries up. If you feel guilt, it withholds. But if you see it as divine substance, if you speak to it as a child of the infinite, it will move toward you in increasing waves. Never again say, "Money is hard to come by." Instead, declare, "God is my instant, constant, and lavish supply." Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. That's not just poetry, that's law. And when spoken with rhythm, belief, and feeling, it becomes form. It doesn't matter how much money you have now. What matters is how you speak to it. Money is like water. It flows where it's welcomed. It evaporates where it's cursed. It's drawn to peace, magnetized by confidence, and repelled by resentment. You must become a sacred channel through which money moves freely, not hoarded, not feared, not glorified, but blessed. Bless every dollar that enters your world. Bless every coin you find. Bless every payment you send. And say aloud, "This money is divine substance. It cannot be depleted. It flows to me and through me under grace and multiplies as it goes." You'll find that what once escaped you now lingers. What once delayed now arrives. What once hid now reveals itself, not because the money has changed, but because you have. And as within, so without. As you speak, so it is. As you bless, so you receive. Let money become your sacred servant, and speak to it as such. Whatever you bless multiplies. This isn't theory or mysticism. It's spiritual law. It doesn't matter what the world economy says, or what your account balance shows. The moment you bless something in truth fully, lovingly, without fear, you open the floodgates of divine increase. And when it comes to money, this law works with precise obedience. The law of multiplication is embedded in all of creation. The seed multiplies, the loaves and fishes multiplied, talents invested multiplied. It is God's delight to give in abundance. But that abundance cannot enter a heart that curses its own supply. Most people hold their last dollar in fear, saying, "I must hold on or I'll have none." But I say, bless that dollar. Love that dollar, speak to it, multiply it with your word, for $1 blessed and declared as divine substance contains the spiritual pattern of millions. Let me give you an example. There was a woman who had only $2 left. The world would have called her broke, but she held those dollars in her hand and said, "This is God's money. It is spiritual substance. It cannot be depleted. I bless it and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways." Within the week, $600 came to her from a channel she hadn't imagined. Did the words create the money out of thin air? No, they released it. The money was always there, waiting for her vibration to rise to its level. You see, the money is never far. It's only out of tune with your frequency. Your word is your tuning fork. Your decree is your alignment. Your blessing is your invitation. Stop asking where the money is. Start declaring, "Money is here. Money is ready." Money now multiplies under grace, and speak that not as a wish, but as a truth already in motion. The loaves and fishes weren't multiplied through effort or counting. They were multiplied through gratitude and declaration. Jesus looked up, gave thanks, and then broke. And it was in the breaking that the increase came. You too must look at what you have, not with fear, but with faith, not with shrinking, but with spiritual boldness. Take what you have and speak this. I bless this money. I bless its source. I bless its direction. And I now see it return to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Don't wait until you have more to speak. Speak now. Speak when it's small. Speak when it looks insufficient. For the one who speaks to little is the one who governs much. The one who fears smallness will never taste overflow. But the one who sees divine pattern in every dollar touches, rhythm of multiplication. Money isn't logical, it's lawful, and law listens to your voice. Law responds to your blessing. Law moves where you speak. So touch your money, even if it's just $1, and say, this money multiplies because I have blessed it in truth. And it shall be so, not by might, not by manipulation, but by the spoken word in alignment with divine law. Now, I give you the sentence. This isn't a charm, a spell, or a mere phrase to recite without power. This is a divine declaration, a command to law, a vibration that aligns your voice with the invisible supply waiting to take shape. You're not saying it to beg or to test. You're saying it because you now understand that money obeys the spoken word. Say this aloud every time you touch money. Divine substance cannot be depleted. I bless this money and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways. Say it when you receive a payment. Say it when you pay a bill. Say it when you buy groceries, when you tip, when you transfer, when you count, when you give. Say it with the breath of certainty. Say it slowly. Say it like a king addressing his court. Say it like a priest sanctifying an offering, because that is what you are doing. You are sanctifying your substance. You are commanding multiplication. The law hears your rhythm. The universe bends to your word. You don't need to know the channel. You don't need to calculate the how. The sentence isn't about logic. It's about vibration. When you say it, you shift your frequency. When you say it, you rise above fear. When you say it, you align with the divine storehouse that is always full. Let your relationship with money be purified. You no longer touch it in dread. You no longer feel shame in your body when you spend. You no longer shrink when you give. You no longer flinch when you look at your account. You speak the sentence, and the sentence governs the result. Money must multiply where it is blessed. That is law, not because of you, but because of the source behind you. You are not the origin, you are the speaker, and the speaker who knows their power walks in plenty. So touch the dollar, touch the coins, touch the card and say, divine substance cannot be depleted. I bless this money and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways. And say it as many times as needed until your body feels the truth, until your mind bows to law, until the vibration takes root. And you will see the proof, because law, once activated by word, cannot return void. You must understand this now with fierce clarity. If money keeps fleeing you, it's not because money is unfaithful. It's because your word has pushed it away. Every idle sentence you speak against your own supply becomes a gate slammed shut in the face of abundance. Every time you say, I can't afford that, or money goes faster than it comes, or I'm always broke, or this is too expensive, you are not describing a condition, you are creating one. Law doesn't wait to see if you're joking. It doesn't check your mood. It doesn't analyze your intent. It obeys your vibration. Your subconscious hears your every declaration and moves to match your belief. You may speak these things lightly, passively, habitually, but the law receives them legally, not casually. And so your money hears, there is never enough. And it disperses. It hears, I'm not worthy. And it reroutes. It hears, I always lose. And it disappears. You cannot curse your garden and expect a harvest. You cannot mock your field and expect fruit. Money is a divine instrument. It has ears. It is spiritual substance in form. And when handled with sarcasm, panic, or complaint, it withdraws not as punishment, but as principle. What is unblessed cannot stay. What is feared cannot flow. What is shamed cannot serve. So I ask you now, what have you been speaking over your money? What have you muttered when paying a bill? What have you whispered when looking at your account? What have you rehearsed to friends about your financial situation? Every phrase is a seed, and every seed brings forth after its kind. It is time to speak differently. It is time to bless what you once buried, to honor what you once mocked, to declare life where you once rehearsed lack. Say this when you touch your wallet, your bank app, your receipts. I do not curse my supply. I declare it sacred. Money flows to me freely now, and I speak only life over it. This is not denial. This is divine instruction. You are not ignoring reality. You are reshaping it. And the reality that forms next will be the one that obeys your most dominant word. So guard your mouth, guard your tongue. Let no false prophecy proceed from your lips. You are no longer the victim of money. You are the governor of it. And what you govern in spirit will obey you in form. Every time you pay a bill, every time you part with money, you are declaring what you believe about supply. Most people believe they are losing something when they pay. They believe they are being drained. But I tell you the truth. You are not spending money. You are circulating divine substance. And what you circulate with joy returns to you multiplied. Payment is not depletion. It is a spiritual transaction. It is proof that you trust the source of all good to refill what you have released. Never again speak fear over payment. Never again sigh when the rent is due. Never again groan when the bill arrives. These reactions are spells. They are anti-blessings, and the law, hearing your tone, responds not with increase, but with an echo, echoing the fear you just rehearsed. You must now handle your money as a priest handles the sacred cup with reverence, with awareness, with spiritual rhythm. When you pay for anything, whisper this aloud or in your heart if you must. I pay this in joy, and it returns to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This isn't poetry. This is spiritual math. What you give in joy always returns with increase. What you release in fear delays return. What you part with in gratitude creates immediate pathways for more. Payment is proof of circulation, and circulation is the law of life. Stagnation is the illusion of loss. You were never meant to hoard, to clutch, to panic. You were meant to bless, to trust, to command flow. Say this when the bill arrives. This is not a burden. It is proof I am trusted with substance. I send it forth, and it shall return tenfold. Now your bills are no longer triggers. They are tests of trust. And when you speak truth into them, they transform from chains to channels. Your rent becomes a portal, your electricity a gateway, your tuition a divine investment. Bless your payments. Bless your giving. Bless your outgoing with the same power you bless your incoming, because it is all one flow, all one law. And that which you handle with joy shall return with power. Every visible blessing begins with an invisible word. There is no exception. Your riches don't begin in the bank. They don't begin with the check, the job, or the client. They begin in the sentence. They begin with what you say before they appear. Most people wait to speak abundance until they see it. But that is not law. That is reaction. Law is cause. And the cause of riches is always the spoken word in faith. I've seen it time and time again. A woman stood with nothing but belief. No money in sight, no offers, no open doors. But she spoke day and night. I see yellow bills. I see green bills. I see pink checks with divine abundance written in my name. She saw it. She felt it. She spoke it. Before a dollar had shown its face, she was speaking the truth that preceded it. And in time, because time is never the barrier of spirit, her mailbox began to agree. Yellow bills, green bills, pink checks. The very pattern she had declared appeared in form, not because she forced it, but because she had called it. Don't wait until you have proof to speak. Speak, and the proof will follow. Don't say, "I'll believe it when I see it." That is the language of delay. Say instead, "I'll see it because I have spoken it." For your world is but an echo of your most dominant decree. Scripture declares, "God calleth those things which be not as though they were." Romans 4:17. This is the divine pattern, not describing the seen, but commanding the unseen. Not waiting for riches to appear, but creating them in word and walking in that word until it becomes form. Your sentence is your spiritual mold. When you speak riches in truth, your subconscious accepts the design, and then your outer world begins to match what your inner world has already shaped. So say it before it arrives. Say it while the purse feels empty. Say it while the account looks barren. Say it not to convince yourself, but to instruct law. And law, once instructed, begins to gather the necessary substance to fulfill your decree. Say this now: I see riches surrounding me. I walk in financial peace every day, in every way. My supply multiplies, visible and invisible. And speak it again tomorrow, and again the next day, until your inner world accepts it as fact, until your outer world can no longer resist. Because when the word becomes law in your soul, it must become matter in your hand. Do not jest with money. Do not mock your supply. Do not make yourself the punchline of poverty and expect wealth to honor you. This is a warning, not from fear, but from divine clarity. Your subconscious has no sense of humor. It records every word you speak as instruction. It doesn't know when you're joking. It only knows vibration, tone, energy. It hears your laughter as law. It accepts your sarcasm as command. And then it constructs your experience in kind. I remember a woman who repeatedly said, "One day I'll be living in a trunk on the side of the road." She laughed when she said it. Others laughed with her, but her subconscious wasn't laughing. It was taking notes. It was preparing the trunk. It was arranging the condition. And soon enough, that was exactly where she found herself. Not because she lacked ability or opportunity, but because she prophesied her own downfall. You must understand, there is no such thing as a neutral word. There are only constructive words and destructive ones. Words that align with truth and words that align with fear. When you joke about being broke, your subconscious removes money to match. When you mock the rich, your mind makes sure you never become one. When you laugh at your own lack, you lengthen your season of scarcity. Stop using your tongue to entertain others at the expense of your own good. Words are not toys, they are tools. They are weapons. They are sacred instruments of law. Use them with reverence. Use them with awareness. Use them to create, not to collapse. If you have spoken foolishly about your finances, cancel it now. Speak this aloud. Every idle word I have spoken about money is now neutralized, reversed, and replaced by divine truth. Then replace the curse with blessing. Replace the sarcasm with structure. Replace the joke with justice. And speak only what you are ready to see appear. Say this instead: I speak only increase. I speak only favor. I speak only divine provision. Let your words become your wealth. Let your speech become your storehouse. Let no falsehood leave your lips, because every sentence is a seed, and what you sow you must receive. If you would see wealth appear in your outer world, you must first see it and speak it in your inner one. This is the formula of manifestation. This is the divine architecture. First the vision, then the vibration, then the visible. All things created first appear in imagination, then are sealed in word, then formed in reality. This is the rhythm of divine demonstration, and it cannot be bypassed. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be replaced by logic, labor, or luck. You must become the architect of your wealth. You must sit in the sanctuary of your spirit and build, not with bricks but with words, not with budgets but with belief. You must see your riches before the world can. You must speak your abundance before the world confirms it. The law waits for a leader, and your leadership begins with image and word. The imagination is the womb. The spoken word is the seed. The demonstration is the birth. If you try to produce without seeing and saying, you will push in vain. But if you combine clear vision with sacred speech, the law will deliver. Let this become your daily ritual. Close your eyes and see your wealth, not in fantasy, not in craving, but in truth. See the bills stacked in your drawer. See the payments complete. See the accounts overflowing. See the joy of giving. See the freedom of having. Do not wonder how. That is not your task. Your task is to form the blueprint, and the law will build it. Then speak what you see. Declare it aloud. Even if your surroundings contradict it, even if the bank account mocks it, even if the world calls you delusional, say it anyway. Because what you speak in alignment must become form. Say, I see my wealth. I feel my abundance. I declare my supply. What I speak must now appear under grace and in perfect timing. And walk as one who has already received. Stop begging. Stop pleading. Start agreeing. Let your body move in rhythm with your decree. Stand tall. Speak clearly. Act with peace. Give with joy. Receive with gratitude. These are not performances. They are spiritual alignment. Your demonstration doesn't come by waiting. It comes by building. And building happens in silence, in speech, in the unseen. Then suddenly it appears, and the world calls it luck, but you know it is law. So, combine vision with vibration. Combine image with declaration. And what you build inside will soon stand before you outside. Because when spirit hears both your sight and your sound, it delivers in full. There's a sacred window the world has forgotten, the moment before sleep and the moment of waking. These are the gates of the subconscious. These are the moments when your mind is most fertile, most receptive, most impressionable. And what you speak during these gates doesn't vanish. It roots itself deep in the soil of your being and governs what follows. So I say to you, bless your money at night and bless it in the morning, not as routine, not as superstition, but as law. Law works by repetition. Law responds to rhythm. You wouldn't water a plant once and expect it to bloom. So, don't speak your prosperity once and expect it to multiply. Speak it daily. Speak it at the doorposts of your day. Before you close your eyes at night, speak this sentence aloud. Let it be the last vibration your body remembers. I now draw from the abundance within and see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me blessed and multiplied. Let this sentence travel with you into sleep. Let it echo through your subconscious chambers. Let your dream state be governed by truth, not fear. While you sleep, the seed will be watered. While you sleep, the subconscious will rearrange. While you sleep, spirit will move unseen channels into place. Then, when morning comes, don't touch your phone, your email, your news until you have spoken the law again. Greet your supply. Greet the invisible abundance that now rushes toward you. Speak the sentence again with fresh breath and fresh expectation. I now draw from the abundance within and see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me blessed and multiplied. Touch your wallet, touch your purse, touch your phone if it carries your digital accounts, and bless them, not out of duty, but out of dominion. Let them become symbols of spiritual obedience. Let them remind you that every object connected to your finances must now obey your vibration. Night and morning, the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega of your day. Let truth govern them both, and the middle shall fall in line. This is the double blessing. This is the daily rhythm of the spiritually prosperous, not occasional, not reactive, but rhythmic, bold, and faithful. What you speak in darkness appears in light. What you declare at rest shows up in motion. What you bless at sunrise returns by sundown. And so it is. There is one barrier more dangerous than doubt, more stubborn than fear, more hidden than lack. It is guilt. Guilt about wealth, guilt about wanting more, guilt about receiving while others lack. This is the invisible thief of abundance. For even when the law is spoken and the word is right, guilt in the heart will reject what the voice has commanded. You must cleanse yourself of every false belief that says you are unworthy of riches, that wanting money is selfish, that having more is wrong. These are not spiritual ideas. They are human interpretations of fear wrapped in morality and shame. But the truth is this: your wealth serves God when you receive it in righteousness. The law is not offended by your overflow. The Spirit is not jealous of your storehouse. The infinite is not limited by your portion. There is no scarcity in divine mind. When you receive, you do not take from others. You simply align faster. You become an example of law in action, a testimony that truth does not fail. I have said before, and I say it again, nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to happen. Nothing is too good to last. These words must replace the guilt in your gut. These truths must override the inherited shame of generations. If you feel guilt when receiving, speak this: it is right for me to prosper. I use money in love, and money flows to me in peace. And if the voice of shame whispers, who are you to have more? Answer with law: I am a child of the Most High. I inherit all good. I release guilt and walk in grace. You cannot speak multiplication while holding on to guilt. You cannot bless your money and then hate yourself for having it. These are contradictions that collapse demonstration. But when you release guilt, you release restriction. When you accept that your wealth blesses others, you open wider channels. Say it with me now. My wealth is a blessing to all. I release guilt. I walk in truth. I receive with ease, and I give with joy. Let this become your new truth. Let it soak into your bones. Let it echo louder than the old voices. You are not here to struggle. You are not here to shrink. You are here to demonstrate what is possible when guilt dies and law reigns. And from this new place, abundance comes freely. The law never fails. It is not partial. It is not delayed by distance, by economy, or by opinion. It doesn't consider how long you've struggled or how many times you've cried. It responds to the spoken word of truth declared in rhythm, backed by faith, and sealed with silence. When you speak rightly and do not contradict your word, the law goes to work. I once knew a woman in great need. She was out of work. Rent was due. Fear swirled around her like a storm. But she had learned the law, and she did not beg. She did not panic. She closed her eyes, touched her empty wallet, and spoke this sentence aloud. God is my immediate and inexhaustible supply. Unexpected channels open to me now. She said it once, and again, not frantically, but faithfully. Then she went about her day. Hours later, she walked past a bush and felt drawn to look beneath it. There, tucked under leaves, was an envelope with her name on it. Inside, the exact amount she needed, enough to pay her rent in full and buy food for the week. Some would call that coincidence. I call it demonstration, because this same rhythm has happened to thousands. The moment they stop begging and start declaring, the law begins to shape new channels. The moment they stop rehearsing fear and start speaking supply, the invisible becomes visible. You may say, but that hasn't happened for me. Then I ask you, have you spoken in faith or in fear? Have you declared with authority, or have you hoped with doubt? The law hears certainty, not emotion, not noise. Certainty, speak now. The law never fails. I declare my supply, and it must appear under grace in perfect ways. Let this become your daily conviction. Do not wonder how. Do not watch the clock. Simply speak and walk and trust. Because when the word is spoken in rhythm with truth, the form must follow. The law never forgets your decree. It never misplaces your request. It always fulfills your spoken pattern. So pattern your words in faith, and the results will be undeniable. There is no chaos in spirit. There is no confusion in divine mind. Only man disorganizes what God has already made whole. If your finances feel tangled, heavy, delayed, or unclear, it's not because God has withheld your good. It's because your vibration has not yet aligned with divine order. You have spoken inconsistently. You have feared while paying. You have blessed in one breath and complained in the next. And law, which must reflect your rhythm, has mirrored your disorder. But the moment you bring your words, your feelings, and your decisions into harmony, you activate divine order in your finances. Order isn't about budgeting. It's not about paperwork. It's not about being perfect. It's about spiritual alignment. It's about inner clarity that manifests as outer peace. And divine order begins with your decree. Speak this daily. Every dollar in my world is aligned, assigned, and multiplying under grace. Let that be the spiritual architecture of your money. aligned with truth, assigned to good, and multiplying with ease. No more rogue spending driven by fear. No more hiding from bills. No more disowning your wealth. You are the governor of your financial reality. And governors do not guess, they command. This is your spiritual instruction. Tithe in faith, not in fear. Give with joy, not with guilt. Save in wisdom, not in worry. Spend in peace, not in panic. Let every action with money be a testimony of trust. Money is not your master. It is your tool. It is the servant of your spoken decree. So use it with reverence. Use it with rhythm, and speak into every financial decision this law. I do not manage money by might. I govern it by divine order, and what is governed by law cannot fail. Let your inner world reflect the peace of knowing your supply is steady, your seed is blessed, and your return is multiplying even now. When order reigns inside, chaos must bow outside. You are not becoming prosperous. You are now aligned with the truth that you already are. Walk in that knowing, act in that rhythm, and watch your money rise to meet the vibration of your word. Now you know, and once you know, you cannot return to the old vibration. You cannot unknow law. You cannot